Hello students, welcome to the class. Today we will see the JEPYQs of NCERT Chapter 2 Structure of Atom. Disclaimer, the images, text and other materials used in our presentations are for educational purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners. If you are the owner and have any concerns or issues, please contact us at sathi@itk.ac.in and we shall remove the content immediately. Please note that parts of the content may have been generated using generative AI, which is experimental. So here is your first question. According to Bohr's model, the highest kinetic energy is associated with the electron in the. So your options are first orbit of hydrogen atom, first orbit of helium plus, second orbit of helium plus, and second orbit of lithium 2 plus. So you have some time to solve this question. Your time starts now. So you have 40 seconds left. So let us look at the answer now. So the correct answer is first orbit of helium plus. The solution goes like this. So according to the Bohr's model, the kinetic energy is given by plus 13.6 z square by n square. So this is given in the derivation. Okay, you have seen the derivation of the total energy. There we have calculated the kinetic energy also. So it has a small difference. It goes like 13.6 into z square by n square, but with a positive sign. Okay, it has a positive sign against it. Now for the first orbit of the hydrogen atom, n is equals to 1 and z is equals to 1. Therefore, your kinetic energy simply becomes 13.6 electron volt. Then in the second option, we have the helium plus atom. So n is equals to 1 for helium plus atom, first orbit, and z is equals to 2 since there are 2 protons inside it. Put both of these values, it will give you kinetic energy value as plus 54.4 electron volt. Our third option is having second orbit of the helium plus, therefore n is equals to 2 and z is equals to 2. If you put both the values as 2, then you will get your kinetic energy as 13.6 electron volts. Last option, second orbit of the lithium 2 plus. So here z is 3 and n is 2. If you calculate putting n2 and z3, then you will get your kinetic energy as 30.6 electron volts. Now you can easily say it looking at all of these values that helium plus has the highest energy. Okay, it has the highest energy. But it should be related to the first orbit. Okay, because in the second orbit, the energy decreases. Then moving on to our next question, the kinetic energy of an electron in the second orbit of a hydrogen atom is, so you have to consider A naught as the Bohr's radius. Your time to solve this question starts now. So you have 2 minutes to solve this question. You have 30 more seconds. Okay, your time is up. The question is saying that the kinetic energy of an electron in the second orbit is, so you have to develop a relation between the kinetic energy and the A naught basically. The correct answer is C, h square by 32 pi square ma naught square. So how we'll do it? According to the Bohr's model, we know that from the quantization of angular momentum, mvr is equals to nh by 2 pi. Therefore, mv square is equals to n square h square by 4 pi r square. We have already seen this derivation, but there is small change here. What is that change? So basically, now we are trying to input the value of A naught. Okay, so we are not putting the radius value directly here. Okay, we are not putting the radius value here. Now, take the value of mv square from here and put it here. If you do this, you have to multiply and divide this thing by m. Then on multiplication, you will get m square v square by m. Now m square v square value is taken from here, and this m is there in the denominator. Name it as equation number 1. Now, according to the Bohr radius of the hydrogen atom, we know that radius of the nth orbit is given by n square A naught. So that same A naught which is mentioned in the question, its value is fixed. So I'm leaving it up to you to remember this value, that what was the exact value in terms of picometer or in terms of angstrom or meter. Now, if you put the value of R in the first equation, you will get your final kinetic energy as h square by 8 pi square n square a square m. Okay, so this is your overall equation. Now, it is being said that the electron is in the second orbit. So we have to take n is equals to 2. if we take n is equals to 2, we will take 4 as a multiplying factor because n has a square term here. So that will give you your final equation as h square 32 pi square a naught square m, which is option C. Then moving on to our next question. Which hydrogen-like species will have same radius as that of the Bohr orbit of hydrogen atom? This is from the NCERT section 2.4. 4 options are here. Lithium 2 plus, second orbit of lithium 2 plus, second orbit of beryllium 3 plus, second orbit of helium plus, and third orbit of lithium 2 plus. So your time to solve this question starts now. So you have 20 more seconds left in the pocket. So your time is up. Question is saying that out of this given states of different hydrogen-like species, which will have the same radius as the Bohr orbit of the hydrogen atom, which is A naught. So the correct answer is B. N is equals to 2 for beryllium 3 plus. How will solve it? For that, you must remember the expression for the Bohr's orbit, which is given by the radius of the nth orbit as A naught n square by z, where A naught is the Bohr's orbit for hydrogen atom. So you have to make your Rn equals to A naught. Now which value we will take for n square and z? You will take such a value so that the n square and z square become equal. So if you take z is equals to 4 and n is equals to 2, you will get 4 cancel out on the numerator and denominator. Therefore, R will become equals to A naught. If you are following that path, therefore for Z is equals to 4, the hydrogen-like species is the beryllium 3 plus, and N is equals to 2 is then given in the question. Now put both of these values and get your radius equals to the A naught. Therefore, the species will be beryllium 3 plus, and the value of the principal quantum number will be 2. Here is our next question. The Rutherford's experiment, which established the nuclear model of the atom, used a beam of. Your first question is beta particles which impinged on a metal foil and got absorbed, alpha rays which impinged on a metal foil and got scattered, helium atoms which impinged on a metal foil and got scattered, and lastly helium nuclei which impinged on a metal foil and got scattered. So your time to solve this question starts now. Remember what is your alpha particle? Okay, so that will give you your answer. Okay, Rutherford was using the alpha particle, remember. So your time is up. So Rutherford used the alpha particles for the impingement on the gold foil. Now, if you are able to remember that what is alpha particle, then you will clearly get your answer as D, which is helium nuclei. Okay, not the helium atom. You will see in a while that why it is so. So if I look at the solution, remember that alpha particle was helium 2 plus. Okay, so if you take helium 2 plus, means you are removing both of the electrons and you are only left with the nuclei. So instead of writing helium atom, we will take the helium nuclei. And he used this helium 2 plus nuclei on the metal foil, and in that experiment, his alpha particle got scattered. Some went through without any deviation and some deviated through small angle. I hope you got the answer. So it's a good one. Okay, so this terminology is important here. So you have to read the question very carefully. Here is our next question. Which of the following does not characterize X-rays? It is asked from the NCERT section 2.3.1 in 1992 for 1 marks. Options are the radiations can ionize the gases. It causes zinc sulfide to fluorescence. C, deflected by electric and magnetic field. And D, have wavelength shorter than the ultraviolet rays. Your time to solve this question starts now. So let us move to the solution part. If you remember, then X-ray is a part of the electromagnetic spectrum. So it will be deflected by the electric and magnetic field. Now, what is the reason behind it? For that, you must understand the nature of the electromagnetic radiation. So our electromagnetic radiation is very neutral in nature. Okay. And due to this neutral nature, it is not getting deflected by the electric and magnetic field. Therefore, it will be option number C. So you must have seen that if it was a charged particle, then it would have deflected to the electric field. It is very obvious. And by the magnetic field also. And there is a relation for it, which you have learned in the 10th class about Fleming's left-hand rule, where you see the effect of magnetic field on the charged particles. But since the X-rays are electrically neutral, it has this fields have no effect on this X-rays. Then here is your next question. The wavelength of a spectral line for an electronic series inversely proportional to, asked from the NCERT section 2.3.3, the number of electrons undergoing the transition, the nuclear charge of the atom, the difference in the energy of the energy level involved in the transition, the velocity of the electron undergoing transition. Your time to solve this question starts now. So let us look at the correct answer. If you know the relation between the wavelength, okay, and the energy states, which is the Rydberg formula, you will be able to find the answer. The correct answer will be the wavelength of a spectral line for an electronic transition is inversely proportional to the difference in the energy of the energy levels involved in the transition. So why it is true? The transition energy is given by 1 by lambda is equals to RH Z square 1 by N1 square minus 1 by N2 square. So here is your wavelength and here is your difference in energies. Now we can see very clearly that the difference in energy is inversely proportional to the wavelength. Okay. Where delta is which difference? It is the difference between two orbits. And lambda is the wavelength of the spectral line. Therefore, the correct option will be C. The next question, Rutherford's alpha particle scattering experiment eventually led to the conclusion that option A, mass and energy are related. Option B, electron occupies space around the nucleus. Option C, neutrons are buried deep in the nucleus. Option D, the point of impact with the matter can be precisely determined. So this was asked in 1986 for 1 marks. You have 10 seconds to solve this question. Your time starts now. Let us look what is the correct answer. So it led to the conclusion that your electrons occupy space around the nucleus. So this was the obvious result of this Rutherford's alpha scattering experiment. Now, why it was happening? Remember that your positively charged nucleus is in the center, and as a result of it, most of the alpha particles were passing straight through it because the nucleus occupies a very small space. And this is the reason your correct answer will be B, which is saying that electrons occupy space around the nucleus. So this was all for today's class. Thank you for attending the lecture.